Welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you're here, and the first thing I feel like I have to start off by saying is thank you. I am so grateful for all of the support that you guys have been showing me, both here on YouTube and on Bookstagram. I'm enjoying it so much, and I hope you come back and enjoy the content as well that I've been putting out. Keep on giving me feedback, and thank you. Also, if you're new here, don't worry, you haven't missed that much yet. I've released my first video about 3 weeks ago, so I'll link it down below and you can go and check it out. Okay, so before we start diving into beautiful stories, I feel like we must talk about reality just for a little bit. As I'm sure you are all aware, the recent events concerning the Russian invasion of Ukraine have been devastating. Many people have lost their lives, and hundreds of thousands have had to say goodbye to their country and to their loved ones due to fear. It's with a heavy heart that I, and I'm sure all of you, have been witnessing this inhumane attack on freedom and safety and democracy by the hands of Putin towards the Ukrainian people. Right now, I know that most of us are feeling anxious and we fear that there's not much we can do on our side to help, but whoever you are, wherever you are, I'm sure there's something you can do to help. Like, for example, donate to associations or institutions that you trust and know are doing a great job at helping refugees escape Ukraine, or you can simply just share on social media and raise awareness to this severe, humane issue. Also, if you have any knowledge of trustworthy associations or initiatives that are taking part in helping the refugees of Ukraine, please link them down in the comments so we can help. And I would also like to thank my friend Eva, who has been in the Polish border helping receive donations and buying essential products for refugees from Ukraine. She's amazing, and I would also like to thank everyone that's been working tirelessly with her. Please stay informed, stay safe, and help out in any way you can. Okay, on to our video. So today it's basically a February wrap-up. I'm going to tell you the books that I've read this month, what they are about, and how I feel about them now that I've read them. Now, for this video, I bring you 4 of the 6 books that I proposed to read this month. I don't know why, but I kind of forgot that February only has 28 days. I know it sounds silly, but 2 to 3 days make all the difference in the world when you're reading books. Keeping in mind that I forgot about this fact, I actually read 4, going on the 5th. I'm currently still reading, so I'm not going to count it off, I'm just going to mention it. It's Islands in the Stream by Ernest Hemingway. This book is huge, basically, and so I'm taking my time with it. I'm enjoying it so far, and so I'll leave it for another time. Okay, so this month we start off with No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. This was published in 2005. So Llewellyn Moss, hunting antelope near the Rio Grande, stumbles upon a transaction gone horribly wrong. Finding bullet-ridden bodies, several kilos of heroin, and a caseload of cash, he faces a choice: leave the scene as he found it, or cut the money and run. Choosing the latter, he knows, will change everything, and so begins a terrifying chain of events in which each participant seems determined to answer the question that one asks another: how does a man decide, in what order, to abandon his life? The most captivating aspect about this book is the dialogue. He manages to pack all of the intricacy and the realness and the crudeness of a dialogue that not only seems feasible in reality, but is also so clever, and it's so ironic. And for the characters, it's so fitting that it's breathtaking, basically. As it is a screenplay, however, there are some bits and pieces that I don't particularly love, mainly concerning the language. The lack of punctuation just really cracks my brain open because it's a pet peeve of mine, and I hate the fact that instead of commas, he just constantly uses the word "and." It makes me nuts. It basically kicked my very technically spoiled ass to the ground. It's a pet peeve, what can I say? Other than that, the story isn't really my type. I really don't like Westerns, but the way that it was written and the fact that the dialogues are so brilliant, I feel like I really did like this book. It receives 3.75 daisies from me, and if you want some more detail on an appreciation of this book, I have released it yesterday on my blog, so you can go check it out. I'll link it down below as well. Next up, Only Dull People Are Brilliant at Breakfast. Oscar Wilde, my man. I have to confess that when I bought this book, I wasn't fully aware of the type of book that it was. I didn't know it was a compilation of ideas, quotes, and thoughts of Oscar Wilde. Overall, I feel there are some ideas that I agree with, some ironic and sarcastic comments that have made me laugh out loud, especially concerning the English. And then there were some other things that I completely disagreed with, but at the same time, there were some that made me reflect so much that I haven't made up my mind about it. It's a small book. I think it's perfect for the occasional laugh. It also makes you reflect a lot. And so for the tiny book that you get some good content out of it. Prayer must never be answered. If it is, it ceases to be a prayer and becomes correspondence. I'm so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I'm saying. It is sometimes said that the tragedy of an artist's life is that he cannot realize his ideal. But the true tragedy that dogs the steps of most artists is that they realize their ideal too absolutely. For when the ideal is realized, it is robbed of its wonder and its mystery, and becomes simply a new starting point for an ideal that is other than itself. This is the reason why music is the perfect type of art. Especially people that are dreamers, I feel, may feel this, because whenever a dream becomes a reality, it stops being a dream. It's too palpable, it's too tangible. It becomes something specific and can no longer be brought in your mind anymore, because now it's real. This gets a 3.5 daisies out of me. I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if it had been more. I feel like this wasn't enough. It's 50 really tiny pages. I would have enjoyed more. Okay, next up, I bring you Ignorance by Milan Kundera. This was published in the year 2000. Irina and Yosef meet by chance while returning to their homeland, which they had abandoned 20 years earlier. Will they manage to pick up the thread of their strange love story, interrupted almost as soon as it began, and then lost in the tides of history? The truth is that after such a long absence, their memories no longer match. This is a fictional romance that is set through the 20th century, through the different periods and political stances at the time. And this is an extremely reflective book. The thing is, Milan Kundera is a master at his art. He always manages to find a way to talk about the most mundane topics, but in such a beautiful and reflective, endearing manner. It's really special. Even awful situations that happen in people's lives, like loss and sadness and loneliness, everything has a touch of beauty in it, a softness and a crude yet thoughtful candor. This book is especially interesting considering today's climate. So it is set throughout the 20th century in Europe, and it focuses on people that have left Czech Republic to immigrate, basically because of Russia. And it goes through different political stances throughout time. So it focuses on the people that had to leave their country and how they perceive themselves and the country itself. It shows a point of view of people in the receiving country and how they see immigrants at the time arriving and living there. And it also shows the point of view of people who have stayed in the country, that have not immigrated to anywhere, and how they feel about people that have left their country to go live somewhere else in Europe. I believe it deals a lot with time and its ramifications ultimately on memory, on nostalgia, and of course ignorance of time, being ignorant about the future. But I feel the story isn't about Irina and Yosef that meet so many years after. It's about the ramifications of immigration and the fact that time never seems to stop. I feel like he is so special because somehow he manages to bring to all of his works the same topics, mostly of the human condition, and yet somehow you always end up learning something more. I feel that is truly special. Safe to say it has 5 daisies from me. You don't even have to question it. I recommend it all the way through, and it is so worth it that I will go into a deep dive on it and several other of his books on a future video, just for you. So finally, Ready Player 2. This book is fairly recent. It was released in 2020, and it's basically science fiction. I would say that the first one, Ready Player 1, was a utopia, and this one is a dystopia. I would say that there's a slight difference. Days after winning Oasis founder James Halliday's contest, Wade Watts makes a discovery that changes everything. Hidden within Halliday's vaults, waiting for his heir to find, lies a technological advancement that will once again change the world and make the Oasis 1,000 times more wondrous and addictive than even Wade dreamed possible. With it comes a new riddle and a new quest, a last Easter egg from Halliday hinting at a mysterious prize. And an impossibly powerful new rival awaits, one willing to kill millions to get what he wants. Wade's life and the future of the Oasis are again at stake, but this time the fate of humanity also hangs in the balance. I was reading the reviews at the bottom of the page, and Wall Street Journal knows what's up. They read the book and they understood the assignment, and they wrote, "A great mix of exciting fantasy and threatening fact." That's it right there. After reading the first one, I was like, what is this man going to create now? What the hell is he going to invent that is going to be that much more interesting than the Oasis already was? And then he just blew my mind. And some of the twists on this book I saw coming, but most of them I didn't. Let me just tell you, the most hilarious thing is the name dropping during the quest on this book. Now, I won't spoil anything, I promise, but if I ever go to the theaters to watch Ready Player 2, the movie, hopefully directed by Steven Spielberg again, I am just going to wait to see the big-ass budget that they're going to have to get to put all of these actors and actresses on there. I am waiting for it. I 100% recommend this book. I don't feel like you have to read the first one to be very into this one. The first one is really good as well, so if you do have the time, read both. You won't be disappointed, I promise. It has an obvious 5 daisies from me. I'm not even ashamed of it. I'm biased and I don't even care at this point. To finalize this video, let me just tell you that I have been listening to all of Harry Potter's audiobooks, narrated by Stephen Fry, of course. And I have not mentioned this because I've read the books already, so I'm not counting it as new books. I feel like I wanted to be involved in Harry Potter again, but not necessarily read the books. I've only mentioned this to actually mention my story graph. Now, the story graph I've joined recently at the beginning of the year. I can't believe it's March already. Isn't that weird? It has recommendations for you, precisely tailored to your taste. It also lets you keep up with the books that you have on your TBR pile, with the books that you are currently reading. You can save the progress that you made and the pages that you've read. And so if you want to keep up with the readings that I'm doing, just go to my story graph. I'll link it down below. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really do appreciate it. And don't forget to read. I hope I've inspired you or motivated you to read something. Even if it's not any of these books, don't mind me, just do you. Also, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. Also, click on the bell to get a notification every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to keep reading. Bye!